Understanding our surroundings is the first step towards understanding how we can coexist with them. Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to another session of Setu 2026. We are delighted. We are delighted to have all of you with us as we continue our work around ecological sustainability and climate resilience. This is Kinjal Kaur Sani, and I'll be your host for this session. Today's session will build upon that progress. In our previous sessions, we explored the topic through detailed presentations by all of you. Since then, you have had the opportunity to work further to develop your ideas.
So before the resource persons start with their explanations, I have a few points for all of you. I hope I'm audible. Everyone, this is Sukhman, the event organizer of Setu 2026 student team. And today's session, before we begin the main task, let's quickly understand a few concepts that will form the foundation of your work. You have all already been working for a few weeks now, and with the observations in your hand, we'll now just consider talking about a few aspects. So, biological diversity or biodiversity refers to the variety of living organisms around us. So, most of you might have been studying it: plants, insects, birds, amphibians, and many others. This diversity can be affected by factors such as habitat changes, pollution, excessive use of chemicals, changes in food and water availability, and human activity. Before I continue with further aspects, can any one of you speak about what biodiversity is, in trouble because of? The factors affecting biodiversity. Anyone? Kindly raise your hands. A very simple question. What factors do you think the animals that we see around can get endangered because of? Like we have amphibians, frogs, and then a swarm of insects. Well, there's one thing that we actually based the stream on, and it was okay. Vedansh Rastogi has an answer. Vedansh, please go ahead.
The variety of plants and animals living in an area is called biodiversity of that area.
That's right, that's called the biodiversity. And the factors affecting the biodiversity, which is basically the decline. What factors do you think? Yeah, I see Garvit's hand was raised from Eco Chronicles. Muted. Yeah, that's right. Let's talk about this further. Do you guys remember that just a few years back, if you would have been gone to playgrounds and you are returning home, do you remember that there's a swarm of insects that got into our faces? Like we could hear mosquitoes all around, and there were frogs croaking, and there were a lot of frogs that time. Do you guys remember that? Have you seen a lot of frogs and insects while coming back from playgrounds in the evening? Eco Chronicle says yes. Yeah, that's fine. Any one of you? I hope most of you have seen it. And assuming that we know that there's been a decline, like some sort of way we have seen that the populations are decreasing. It's not that they are completely extinct, it's not that they are highly endangered, but we see them quite less. And that is not something to celebrate that we are not seeing any insects. That is actually quite the opposite, which is we are worried because mosquitoes are natural pollinators. And actually, they are, very debatably, they can pollinate much more than bees at times. They're all very necessary. And that is how the biodiversity has been affected. Biodiversity has been affected due to causes of pollution. Pollution, just as one of you answered, and there have been a lot of more causes. And not only mosquitoes. Do you guys know that bees are being traced by microplastics? Yes. And that microplastics is confusing their body. Microplastics are tiny, minute particles of plastics which take years and years, lots of years to decompose. Further moving towards one concept called the food chain. May I have answers from all of you? How many of you have heard about food chains? You must have heard about it in the previous session. Any food chain, guys? Yes, Eco Chronicles, go ahead. What are food chains?
So the food chain is a chain which shows the relation between two or more organisms in an ecosystem or show who is eaten by whom or transfer of energy.
That's perfect. That's very good. So, am I audible further? Okay, the trophic story has something to say. Please go ahead.
Food chain is a sequence that shows who eats whom in an ecosystem. It shows how food and energy pass from one organism to another. For
Exactly.
example, for a,
Yes, please.
from our project, like a marigold, then butterfly, then spider, frog, snake, and kite.
That's correct. And thanks for all the answers, guys. I like seeing all of you getting up and interacting now. And so, yeah, a food chain shows how living organisms are connected through feeding relationships. For example, a plant may be eaten by an insect, which may then become food for a bird. So, a change in one part can therefore affect other organisms connected to it. And now, for further concepts, we have our resource persons with us. Hello, Parna ma'am. Good afternoon. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I
Hi, ma'am.
hope
So,
you can see and hear me.
yes, ma'am, we very well can.
I'm sorry I
So, let
joined a few minutes late.
Oh, that's fine. We were just discussing about some factors like biodiversity and food chain, and we are just having answers for students coming up, and that's pretty great. So let's move on. Let's hand it over to you, and if you can just explain these foundational concepts for them, and then we can move further with the tasks, right?
Yes. So last time I really enjoyed myself listening to all your presentations. I think your school has done a fine job, and you all have done a fine job in uh, how you have individually taken up topics and researched. This is the foundational research actually for environmentalism. And so I'm really happy. And I'm just going to tell you a few foundational concepts from my side, and so that I can link what you have done with what we do, and what I can also give some observations. So I'll talk to you in the context of Bijom because I can explain it to you very well then. So we are a regenerative sustainable agriculture farm, and our goal is to create these ecological relationships and observe them and study them. First of all, the farm houses a number of rescued animals. We have indigenous cattle, goats, pigs, horses, and ducks. We graze them in those lands. Their dung is used to regenerate the soil, and we have biogas, vermicompost, and all those units on the farm. Thanks to all this, a cycle has developed, and this has helped us regenerate soil and create better microbiology. Two, we use active pollination to grow all our food. We don't use pesticides. This means a lot of pollinators visit our farm, and because the rates of pollination are very high, our yield also is very high. Things like even our gourds like Loki, Torit, and our vegetables are completely self-pollinated, and we don't have to interfere at all. In other fields, they have to pollinate by hand. It just shows that when you allow a system to grow, then how the insects take over and they actually do the job for you. Two, by creating an open chemical-free land and farming system, we are attracting local birds. Earthworms regenerate, insects regenerate, and since earthworms thrive when we do things like mulching and green manuring, the soil nutrient increase by the year. And with every passing year, we are seeing an amazing rise in yield. So these kind of ecosystems have naturally evolved on the farm, and these are the cycles that you're all talking about, which is naturally happening on our farm. Two, every organism, no matter how small, plays a vital role. So we have frogs, and this season particularly, we have some amazing population of frogs because we have ponds in our land. we have created water bodies that also act as wildlife ponds. And in some of our ponds, our gray water goes in. We capture rainwater in some. We are doing rainwater harvesting in others. So, in all these ponds, these water bodies have encouraged frog populations. So, because you spoke so much about frogs, I was very excited because we ourselves propagate frogs and we're very happy when they come. It's like a rock show on the farm in the evenings because they're all croaking away. Thanks to the frogs, we also have snakes. Then we also have mongoose, we have peacocks. So there are all sorts of circular systems happening on the farm. And this silent workforce, as I call them, they are keeping the farm sustainable and alive and healthy. The frogs are eating the insects, the snakes are eating the frogs. Like you said, a lot of birds come, they eat the snakes, or there is a big ecosystem happening. And all that you said resonated with me just because of that. Two, there is a natural pest control, or rather, we call it integrated pest management, already happening on the farm. Frogs, dragonflies, ladybugs are they are predators of our crop damaging pests. In winter, the first thing we noticed was when we have our mustard crop, we would make sure that we plant it late early so that the aphids come. I think I mentioned this to you. And then the ladybugs come and eat up the aphids. So we've observed these cycles on the farm. And because we are a chemical free farm and we do not use synthetic pesticides at all, the frogs in the farm water bodies and beneficial insects, they eat all the mosquitoes, the aphids, the crop pests. This is a wonderful way to keep our insect population at bay. And at the same time, because we do not use pest repellents, our beneficial insects do not get killed. That is the important thing. Because when you use chemicals, it doesn't only kill the predators, it also kills or rather the insects that damage the crops, but it also kills the beneficial insects. Here we are an ahimsic farm, so we kill neither. We allow the ecosystem to handle it. And that is what is magnificent about natural farming. Two, small insects like wild bees, butterfly. In our food forest, we have 5 varieties of bees. We have a very dear friend called Rakesh Gupta, who's a bee expert, and he's come and he's recorded these 5 varieties of bees, which are naturally nesting in our farm in various beehives. Bees are very whimsical creatures. They actually fly away if they don't like their habitat. We are very proud to say that these hives have not changed in the last 5 years or 6 years, which means we are doing something right. And we have beetles, we have butterflies, we also have what do you call it? उसको क्या बोलते हैं वो fireflies, which is very very rare. So we grow a lot of millets, vegetables, oil seeds. Without these pollinators we cannot grow them, because they are the ones who are propagating it and making our yield so fantastic. So the yields for the next harvest are determined by how much we are allowing these guys to thrive, because we don't use anything to do that. Two, tiny soil insects, ants, beetles, they're breaking down organic matter. The farm relies on mulching, green manuring. We cover the soil with a lot of organic waste and we use a lot of dung. These small insects, fungi, earthworms that we are allowing to proliferate, they are the ones who chew up this waste. And they make it easier for microbes and earthworms to turn it into nutrient rich humus. The floor of the food forest now, it's looking so dark and like coffee powder. And it's not like how we started. Now the soil is changing with every passing year. And this naturally fertilizes the soil without any chemical inputs. And with every passing year, the soil improves. While in chemical farming, because this cycle or this ecosystem is not developed, with every passing year, the soil becomes worse, right? And the insects and frogs also, they turn the plant energy into protein. It becomes food for larger animals. The presence of all these insects and frogs, they attract migratory birds, snakes, and small animals to the farm. So we have civet cats, we get a lot of nilgai, which also destroy the crops. But it basically, this is attracting other animals, and the ecosystem is only growing. We've also found that in our bajra crop, the nilgais congregate the most in our bajra crop because they don't like the other crops which are full of pesticides. So we've also found that and even our sunflowers, they're sometimes eaten away by the birds because they love our chemical-free sunflowers. So the minute you don't put chemicals, the minute you invite them, the minute you mulch the soil, you're actually encouraging this ecosystem to thrive. And these food chains are automatically growing in your space, because and it becomes a very highly diverse self-sustaining food web, and we are mimicking nature then, because this is what is happening in nature, in forests, in places where man does not interfere. So while human interference is not required, to some extent, to restore this food chain we need to intervene. That is what we've realized at Bijo. But our intervention should be more like a nudge or a push rather than getting into their space. So yes, human intervention, without human intervention, these thrive very well. But because we've gone so far and ruined the soil and cut our forests and what you call broken our our food chains, we need to intervene to restore them. And by that, what I mean is, we first grew a food forest, allowed the forest to grow and take over the soil. We allowed these insects to come in, and we created a small, a beautiful small, what can I say, like a small ecosystem where now all of them are thriving, and now we have let go. It's something like when you learn cycling. When you learn cycling, first your parents or somebody has to hold the cycle behind you, and slowly when they let go, you wouldn't even know. So that is the kind of human interference that we are doing at Bijo. We are not interfering with their process, but we are enabling that process to happen. So with all the kind of degradation we have done around us, this enabling has to also happen. So here at our farm, biodiversity is not a concept, it is an infrastructure. We are creating that infrastructure. Insects and the frogs are actually doing the job. The bees are actually doing the pollination. The earthworms are actually breaking down the soil, but we are enabling that process to happen. So even inside a dedicated sanctuary like Bijom, external environment pressures are also there. It's not just about what we do within. The guy next to us in the next field is using pesticides. The groundwater is disturbed. Climate change is happening, right? Urbanization is happening. We are getting bridges coming up, or there's a flyover coming somewhere, and there is a habitat change. There is what do you call? Although we are in a very an island and an ecosystem, all the neighboring fields have all sorts of things. Tractors are going, earthworms are dying. The habitats of birds are being disturbed. Uh, Even between we are also breaking corridors of which insects or animals use to move around. So between one ecosystem and the other, the corridor is being cut or destroyed, so they don't know how to move. So there are lots of things still happening that we cannot control. Chemical farming all around us is also a threat. But although we are organic and we are trying to create these food chains, wind, water runoff, all carry toxic chemicals, there's air pollution, all sorts of things are happening, right? So I think also all around us there are now bore wells being dug. We have dug ponds within our sanctuary. We have tried to bring back water conservation. We are bringing back wildlife. But around us, exactly the opposite is happening. Because of this, a lot of native wild plants and animals are not able to survive. So because frogs like require clean wetland water, they require groundwater tables to be at a certain height. The nearby industrial pollution should not be there. So it's actually a struggle to retain these food chains that need to be conserved. So, therefore, human disturbance is, of course, the largest issue that we have, where these food chains are being disturbed. So, given all these factors, I think your kind of observation will help us a lot in knowing how these food chains can be retained. Because if you want to save the planet, or if you want to know more about how the planet works, we have to observe these food chains like you're doing, We have to observe how it works with human intervention and without, and how can we intervene to help these food chains, not destroy them. So for these, you have to do systematic observations, track ecosystem health, and watch how insects, frogs, plants, and soil are interacting with each other, and record them in a structured way. So you're doing the right thing. You're picking up fixed spots. You're keeping a schedule. You are observing them in a controlled environment, and you're using your senses, like you're watching them, you're hearing them and seeing them, and this also brings about a lot of stillness in you to help you observe, and you're recording them, and you're coming to conclusions. So this is really, really good. And personally, I think you all should visit us. I would love it if you came to Bijo, and because all that you're doing is reflected in our space. But the idea is to always keep a living laboratory alive. I always feel the classroom is outside the four walls, it's never within. And I'm sure with all your these experiments, you all are learning a lot, which you will never learn within a textbook. This is coming alive for you. It's a live classroom. And this helps you understand the core relationships and natural interactions of in nature that allow for these chains to exist. So please continue. And now I'd like to listen to all your other presentations. Thank you so much for hearing me.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your words. So is anyone willing to share their presentations? So we will now begin with the presentations from the participants. We request everyone presenting to briefly take us through their work, observations, and ideas. Okay, so someone raised their hands. All right, so you can start with the presentation.
Okay, ma'am, I can start. Ma'am, I can't share screen. Hello? Hello, ma'am, I am audible?
Yes, you're audible. Let's just enable screen sharing for you. I think it's already enabled. Could you try once? Hi, participant of EcoChain, are you able to present it?
Sir, my presentation is not visible and I can't share the screen. Hello, I am audible.
Yes, you're audible, team, and we have enabled the screen share. Could you just try again?
Oh, okay, I can try again. Sir, it is not visible. Can I orally explain it? Hello.
Yes, you may.
Oh, good afternoon, everyone. We are Zaina and Avni from class 7. Our topic is eco chain, and today we will explain the different parts of plant and how they work together as one system. Understanding the plant. A plant has different parts with different functions. Roots absorb water, stems provide support, and leaves make food
Sorry
together.
to
They
interrupt
help.
you, team. I'm so sorry for that. But you can try to screen share your presentation. You may be able to share it right now. We have changed some settings and sorted out the issue.
Okay, ma'am, I can try once more.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Team, please go ahead.
Ma'am, it will not working.
Okay, team. So you can start without presenting.
Okay, ma'am. I'm sorry for that, but
No, it's
I will explain orally.
you can start.
Okay, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. We are Zaina and Avni from class 7th. Our topic is eco chain, and today we will explain the different parts of plants and how they work together as one system. Understanding the plant. A plant has different parts with different functions. Root absorb water, stems provide support, and leaves make food together. They help the plant grow and survive. The main parts. The main parts of a plant are roots, stem, leaves, and flowers. Each part has a special role. All parts work together to keep the plant healthy. A simple plant flow. Plants get water and minerals from the soil through their roots. The stem carries them to the leaves. The leaves then make food for the whole plant. Roots. Roots are the underground part of the plant. They absorb water and minerals, keep the plant firmly fixed in the soil. Some roots also store food. Stem. The stem supports the plant and keep it upright. It carries water from the roots to the leaves. It also distributes food to different parts of the plant. Okay, now Avni, you can explain the presentation from slide 7 to slide 12.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. I am Avni. Slide 7 leaves. Now let us start. Now let us talk about leaves. Leaves are known as the food factories of plants. They make food through photosynthesis using sunlight, water and carbon dioxide. They also help in gas exchange and transpiration. Flowers, fruits and seeds. Flowers help plants reproduce, fruits protect the seeds and seeds grow into new plants. This process continues the plant life cycle. Eco chain public policy. Plants are important for clean air and a healthy environment. We should protect green spaces and use water wisely. Everyone can help care for plants and nature. Who does what? Students, school communities, and local bodies all have a role in protecting plants. Working together helps maintain healthy green spaces. This creates a better environment for everyone. What success looks like. Success means healthy plants and protected green spaces. It also means students understand plant science, regular care, and monitoring help plants thrive. Sources and credits. These are the sources used to prepare our presentation. They provided information about plant structure and function. To conclude, plants are not only important for nature but also for our communities. If we understand plants and take care for green spaces, we can create a healthier and better environment for everyone. Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for
listening
listening
to
to
our
our
presentation.
presentation.
Are you done, team? Are you done with the presentation?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ma'am, maybe hear some reviews from you. Hello, Purna ma'am, are you here? All right, since ma'am's not here, but she must be facing some network issues.
No, I'm here.
Okay, ma'am. Would you want to share any reviews for the team?
No, I'll wait till the end to give you the
Oh,
review.
that's perfect. Sounds good. So let's have next team to present. Anyone would like to share their work next? And since we actually asked for teams to present who could not present in the last session, we are also open for the teams who presented earlier but just want to share something extra and what they have added into it. We'd be looking forward to have them present as well.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Can our other member present because he has option two?
Yep, they can present. But I thought you were done with your presentation. Do you want to present it again?
Yes, sir.
All right, then let's schedule your presentation towards the end of the session. So first, so that we can accommodate everyone. But we did hear from you, so we can actually have a presentation at the end. I see Habitat Mosaic has raised their hands. Please go ahead with your presentation.
So I'm Shreya from the group Habitat Mosaic. Can we just have a moment to share our presentation?
Yes, yes, sure. Meanwhile, we request anyone else who wants to present to kindly raise their hand so that we know who to schedule next. This presentation will be by Habitat Mosaic and one presentation by the Eco Chain. The again is scheduled for the end before ma'am gives her reviews. and valuable insights. Until then, we request everyone to be ready with the project that they'll be presenting. Thank you.
Well, I'm trying to share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Not yet. Could you just try again, or maybe just wait for a while you try sharing your screen? Yes, Habitat Mosaic, we can see your screen now.
Please wait for a while, sir. There was some issue with the network.
So, okay, now you can start.
Is my screen visible now?
Yes, it is visible.
So very good afternoon to everyone. Today we little scholars and the team Habitat Mosaic are here to present our presentation on food chain, school kitchen garden observations and our ecosystem. Well, these observations were really important. Instead of just studying our from our textbooks, we observe plants, insects, and other organisms directly and try to understand how they are connected. Through this project, we explored food chain, plant growth, insect decomposers, pollinators, and many more things. So let's get started. A food chain. Before we discuss our observations, let us understand what a food chain is. A food chain shows how food and energy passes from one living organism to another. For example, in a simple food chain, grass is eaten by a grasshopper. The grasshopper is eaten by a frog and then a snake. So every organism is a food chain connected to one another. During our observations, we were very lucky that we could find a toad. Our live food chains. The interesting part of our project that we were not only dependent on the textbook. We actually observed organisms around the plants and created food chain from our observations. One of the food chain recorded were plant eaten by a mosquito, then a dragonfly and also a lizard. Here the plant forms the starting point and the energy passes through different organisms. This helped us understand that food chain can be observed in our surroundings. Insects in action. Decomposers. We found many decomposers like millipede and earthworms. We found a group of millipede and earthworms and got to know that they only came when the environment was much cleaner and only during the monsoon season. Moreover, we could also find many pollinating agents like bees, which are very important pollinating agents. They visited our flowers to collect nectar and pollen while moving from one flower to another, transferring pollen from another anther to stigma, helping in pollen and seed formation. More of our food chains. We could also find a toad near one of the pots. Well, more of our food chains include plants and spider and toad. Next, I would like to pass it on to Shreya.
Yes, please could you move to the next slide? So we observed a decline in biodiversity. The frogs and other insects that we could see around our houses and in the gardens were not there. This was mainly because of the destruction of their habitat, increase in pollution, and the excessive use of pesticides, the climate change, and lack of food and water. Though we did not use any pesticides in our garden, there are farmers who are. Am I audible?
Yes.
So, in the nearby places, farmers use more pesticides that lead to a harm to those animals. The next slide, please. So, we observed the anokra plant. In initial days, the growth was normal, but as there was an increase in sunlight and there were rainy days, the okra was growing better. We could observe some bugs and insects like ants around the soil. There were mosquitoes and grasshoppers nearby, and in the ecosystem, we also observed moths and earthworms. Those moths could even eat the leaves. The next slide, please. We also observed a brinjal plant. Similar things were observed, like insects like ants, moths, spiders were there. They were feeding on the brinjal plant, and some insects had even laid their eggs under the leaves. So, during the observation period, we could observe the condition changing. The plant initially appeared healthy, but as the time passed, the leaves could be seen yellowing, white patches, and the insect damage. The next slide, please. Another plant that we observed is the butterfly pea plant. So, we observed that it had been healthy throughout our observation. There were flowers blooming, and the insects had eaten the birds. Now, I would like to pass it to Arna.
Good morning, everyone. Can you please change the slide? Yeah. Now I would like to talk about the surrounding ecosystem. Our ecosystem was not limited to the plants in the kitchen garden. We also looked at the surrounding ecosystem. For example, we observed termites on a tree trunk. They feed on wood and decaying plant material and contribute to decomposition and nutrient recycling. We also observe spiders on maize plants. Spiders act as natural predators and feed on smaller insects. This shows that even organisms that we may normally overlook can have important roles in an ecosystem. Please change the slide. Thank you. In conclusion, I would like to say that through this project, we learned that a school garden is much more than a collection of plants. It is a small ecosystem containing plants, insects, predators, decomposers, and pollinators. Our observations help us connect textbook concepts like food chains and ecosystems with things we could actually see around us. The biggest lesson we learn is that every organism has a role whether it is a plant, insect, predator, decomposer, or pollinator. By observing nature carefully, we can understand how these organisms depend on one another and how important it is to maintain the balance of our ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you so much, team. Now, the other team willing to present can raise their hands. Anyone who would like to present?
Ma'am, we will present after some time. Our one of the team member is logging in through the computer.
Okay. So the any other one?
Hello, teams. Anyone would like to just reintroduce their projects again, or maybe ask a few questions, or put forth some, you say, if you have faced some problems in the due process, maybe some of you have experienced something that you would like to share while you were working on a project with all of us. Anyone? Maybe while you were documenting, you came across some factor that seems quite disturbing, or maybe astonishing in general. Hello, am I audible? All right. Well, I have one such experience, if I might share. Um, do you guys know, since I mentioned in the start of the session about microplastics in bees? So there was one study that bees are buzzing around in confusion. They're having trouble recognizing flowers, forgetting scents, and even struggling to navigate back to their hive. Do you know why? Just one simple enemy of ours, basically, which is the microplastics. So that's the study that I came across while last to last year I was working on a project. And so, for your knowledge, since you're from grade 6 to 8, you might have not been very familiar with this term. Microplastics are tiny fragments of plastic uh, that are found when plastic waste breaks down. And as I mentioned, it takes lots and lots of years to decompose, and they hardly do it. And they can range in size and density. However, a study confirmed that what many scientists feared. Microplastics are not just polluting oceans and rivers or harming marine animals from whales to seabirds, but they're showing up in fields now. And of course, flowers, and most alarmingly, inside pollinators like bees. And once you become quite acquainted with this field of biodiversity, and further you can study about how pollination is important, you will see how significant this issue is about microplastics in bees because their body is, if I put it simply, for layman terms, that they are actually facing trouble identifying bodies, and the microplastic body inside them is actually confusing with their system. We can say the navigation system, perhaps. So that is how important it is to actually just be aware about your environment. And I was hoping to see some of you actually put forth these issues. However, we are already having a quite few of you who have mentioned some experiences or some studies about your animals that you picked up. One suggestion from my end for the presentation would be that if you guys could include such experiences on field that you have while working for the project or while putting things together. So since I've spoken enough, I just want any one of you to share something if they want before we head to ma'am for her final review and insights. If in case you need any clarification of some subject of the related to these fields, or maybe in case you need some guidance, anyone. You can also showcase your trajectory of your work in case you are interested. Seeing none, I think all of you have understood it very well, all thanks to our resource person who have introduced the topics finally. And seeing that, let's move further to the commencement of this session since we are winding up early. Seeing that all of you are done with presenting the trajectory of your work. So let's hear from ma'am. Ma'am, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
I was wondering how I should wind this up because I think the students have covered a lot of what I had already spoken. But like you said, what I would probably like them to do is to conduct more environment impact studies. They are definitely, they've got the drift of what the food chain is, uh, how the food chain impacts environment, but what impact does climate change have, or what impact does soil degeneration have, what impact does loss of habitat have, because these are the larger questions that impact the food chain. Okay, so I would actually like them to choose to move forward, take the larger questions, and also conduct a experiment on keeping a controlled experiment and an uncontrolled, open-ended one, so that they can gauge that between these two how it works. Some soil studies for sure. So I think that is what we actually need to do now, because I think all the students have understood the basic chains, what they are. So what do you think? And I would like your comments also on it, like the reasons for why the chains have broken. uh there are, it could be from the bottom, it could be from the top, it could be somewhere in the middle where there's chemical traps. What is actually causing the break of these food chains? And what do you call that, what are the solutions? Okay, the chain is breaking, we are in crisis, but what would be the solutions that we could do at every level to arrest this or bring back? And how can human intervention help? This is what I would kind of, in a very broad way. Um, Anyone there?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear that. And I think that is one important aspect because although the students have covered most of the factors, it will become quite important for them to integrate the climate change aspect and the further aspects that you introduced because
Yeah.
those
So
are
I
somehow,
think that
yeah.
now they've understood what it is. Then now they'll have to ask why and go deeper into the why, probably. Yes.
Hello,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Does anyone have any thoughts on this? Why don't you all, amongst the students, if anybody wants to say something?
Yes, ma'am. I see eco chains raising their hands. Eco
Yeah.
chains, what is it? Please go ahead.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
Can I can I audible to you?
Yes, yes.
May I represent while my other partner is presenting?
Yes, yes. I think she can, right? I
Uh,
guess, sorry,
yes,
I'm
ma'am.
not.
Surely we have quite a proof to do.
Yeah.
Well, ma'am, may I represent while my other partner is representing the presentation?
Huh. Yes.
Okay,
Please
Rishabh, you
go
will
ahead.
present the presentation. Hello, Rishabh.
Mm.
Okay, I am audible and can I start, ma'am?
Yes, please go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Rishabh, for this. Good afternoon, everyone. We are Zaina and Avni from class 7th. Our topic is eco chain, and today we will explain the different parts of plants and how they work together as one system. Slide 2, please. Understanding the plant. A plant has different parts
with different functions. Roots absorb water, stems and provide support, and leaves make food. Together, they help the plant grow and survive. Slide 3, please. The main parts of a plant are roots, stem, leaves, and flowers. Each part has a special role. All parts work together to keep the plant healthy. Slide 4, please. A simple plant flow. Plants get water and minerals from the soil through their roots. The stem carries them to the leaves. The leaves then make food for the whole plant. Slide 5, please. Roots are the underground part of the plant. They absorb water and minerals and keep the plant firmly fixed in the soil. Some roots also store food. Slide 6, please. Stem. The stem supports the plant and keep it upright. It carries water from the roots to the leaves. It also distributes food to the different parts of the plant. Okay, now Avni, you can explain the presentation from slide 7 to slide 12. Please, slide 7, please. Okay, please, slide 7. Slide 7. Slide 7. Please, please, slide 7. Richard, can you please move to slide 7? Yeah, it is. No, slide 7. Re- Rishabh, I am talking about slide 7. Please move to slide 7. Hello, I am audible to Rishabh, please.
Ikuchen, I think it will be fine if you could just ask your teammate to go to
Yes,
the
okay, okay.
title. Yeah.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I am Avni. Now let us talk about leaves. Leaves are known as the food factories of plants. They make food through photosynthesis using sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. They also help in gas exchange and transpiration. Please, slide 8. Flower, fruits, and seeds. Flower help plants reproduce. Fruits protect the seeds, and seeds grow into new plants. This process continues the plant life cycle. Please, slide 9. Eco-chain public policy. Plants are important for clean air and a healthy environment. We should protect green spaces and use water wisely. Everyone can help care for plants and nature. Please, slide 10. Who does what? Students, schools, communities, and local bodies all have a role in protecting plants. Working together helps maintain healthy green spaces. This creates a better environment for everyone. Please, slide 11. What success looks like? Success means healthy plants and protected green spaces. It also means strength, understand plant science, regular care, and monitoring help plants thrive. Please, slide 12. Sources and credits. These are the sources used to prepare our presentation. They provided information about plant structure and function. To conclude, plants are not only important for nature but also for our communities. If we understand plants and take care of green spaces, we can create a healthier and better environment for everyone. Thank you for listening to our presentation.
We have done, sir.
All right, thank you so much. That was a good presentation. And with that, seeing that none of you have any further presentations to show or any projects to talk about, and since most of you are done with it, and uh, let's commence with the end of the session. Yes, commencement of
So
the end.
I'd
Yes,
just like to make 2 points.
sure, ma'am.
Yeah, I think when I said they can go ahead, I feel they can do a control and variable Wala experiment where they can compare zones, one a regenerated space and one a concrete space. What they have, like at a wild patch and a what do you call urban patch, to see whether in the same temperature, insect counts, if both at the same time, what the difference is. They can map microclimates. I feel like you can measure the temperature of soil level at 3 places: shady, bare open soil. That kind of biodiversity can be compared to see how uh, these 3 zones are different. You can also calculate pollinators visiting. How much do they visit a flower? This will give you a very good idea of how many times in insect lands. You can also create a small ecosystem, a pond within your thing, and see if you can attract frogs and stuff. And I feel a lot more physical, small projects which will enable you to understand their behavior on the spot. They will come. When you build a small pond, it's really cute. They immediately land up. You'll see a lot of birds. I think it's a very nice experiment for a school to do. And then mulch, mulch apart a place. If you actually put straw and on bare ground and keep it moist, in 1 week, if you lift the straw, you'll see earthworms. I want the kids to understand how they can regenerate, how these chains can be rebuilt. A lot of the bad news is that the chains are broken, but I think we also have to see how they can be rebuilt. And that is something I'd love the kids to do. I think it's if how we can mimic a forest or an ecosystem, and how we can see if we can regenerate it in a small space effectively. That is something really nice. So dedicate a small space in your school where you can conduct these kind of experiments. Also, planting wild flowering plants and seeing if you can get pollinators to come, what the engagement is like. Plant it next to a pond, create a small pond. It can be very small, but that is a small ecosystem, and you can see what happens in that ecosystem. A small vegetable patch where you mulch, where you companion plant and see what is the mannerisms of these various stakeholders. Uh, I would like to give this as a note rather than say it random, because I really think I have a lot to say. So I will provide this as a note, and I would love this to be the next stage of experiments. Okay, so that's what I think. It's really nice. I think the first step has happened where we've all understood what the chains are and etc. and what the issues are. I would love solutions. That's really it.
Yes, ma'am, exactly. And I think the parameters that you have listed out for the students to try the experiments, I think they
Yeah,
can be a very good juggernaut for their further project progressive reviews. And
correct.
so, yeah, if you could share those with us and we'll convey those to the students as form of a note. So, yeah, that was fine. And let's move to the end of the session with that, right?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable guidance and for helping the students take their works further.
Oh, it's a
Thank
pleasure. Thank you. I'm also learning along the way,
you.
always.
Thank you to all the participants as well for your active participation and efforts. We hope today's discussion has given you greater clarity about the direction of your projects. Should you have any questions or require further clarification, please feel free to share them in the WhatsApp group or reach out to the organizers directly. We'll be happy to assist and connect you with the concerned resource person wherever required. We look forward to seeing everyone again in the next session on the 28th of September with your projects progressing to the final stage. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone. You can leave the meeting. Thank you.